Hi, everybody. Hi, Dave. How are you?
Good, good. How are you doing, Dave?
Good. Well, welcome, everybody, from Greenwin Suites. My name is Avery Saltzman.
My name is David Eisner.
We're the co-artistic directors of the Harold Green Jewish Theater Company, and we just wanted to take this opportunity to just thank Greenwin and Jennifer Green for allowing David and I to come into your living rooms for the next few weeks to introduce to you and to interview some of our favorite people. It's Thursday. It's October 22nd. It's 8 p.m. and we are
Live,
live.
and we're thrilled.
Yeah.
Ave, to have as our first guest one of our favorite people. She's been on several of our shows, but multi-award winner. You might know her as the Philadelphia Cream Cheese Lady, but also she's been on Seinfeld, on Waiting for Guffman, Best in Show. She's as nice as she is talented. She's the director. She does it all. Ladies and gentlemen, Linda Kash. Linda.
Oh, yay.
There you are.
Hello, you guys. I really liked it.
Yeah, it's a good intro. How are you?
I'm so well, you guys. How are you?
We're
Doing
good.
well.
We're
We're
good.
thrilled you can visit us because you just came in from Vancouver shooting a project.
Doing a project that I'm not allowed to tell you about, but it will come out in March. All I'm going to say is it's a superhero thing, and it's a series, and I played the bad guy, and I just had the best time.
Wow.
That is so cool. That is so cool.
Yeah. Sorry, Dave, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I mean, we were talking prior to going up and said, but everything you were tested prior for COVID, so it was very safe set. You felt safe, and
yeah, you like it's a very big production, and there's folks from the States and folks from South Africa. Like the cast was enormous, and I got tested for COVID they did 250 tests a day. So they have it looks like a barracks a little bit on the outside. So, you give your name, they jam the toilet brush up your nose. There is a difference though with BC COVID tests and Ontario, because I had my first one before I left, and, they tickled my eye. It was like way up there, and that was fine.
Right.
But the one in BC, for some reason, like it's not that invasive. So I guess because they have to test everyone for 3 days, I could only eat in the tent with my group, which was cast and key players in the crew. Like it was very militant. We were all in masks except when we were rolling. I felt naked, honest to goodness. Like I never saw anybody's part of their face below their nose. So I kept calling like Nick, Joe, like I didn't know anyone because it was like, I'm actually Simon. Sorry, Simon, I can't tell with your mask on. But the people who were working when they called action, that's when we took our masks off. So I felt safe.
Was it nice?
It's nice you got to work though.
Was it nice to be working? Yeah.
It was just really, it felt as abnormal as the masks are. I mean, I think we're all getting a sense of, yes, we walk outside and everybody, we see half their face. I'm kind of getting used to it. I feel like my face might be relaxing a little bit because I'm not smile all the time. Yeah. I don't know. It's a new normal for now. And I was thrilled to be able to work. It just felt normal.
You know what's odd about that though? Not about the work in itself, but when you mention all those tests, and there are so many people in the real world who cannot get a test.
No.
Because it's just the lines are too huge, the waiting is too much, it's just it's a double-edged sword when you talk about that. It's
Well, I have a couple of kids in Peterborough, right? So I spend quite a bit of time there. I also have some elderly dogs there. So I spend part of my time in Peterborough. And my first test was a drive-through test. And guys, it was 4 hours. And guess what? I ran out of gas.
Oy.
Oh my God.
It was like inching forward. There were hundreds of cars. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm on empty. So I had to call a friend and I filmed it because I had to shoot it because it was the most ridiculous thing. It was amusing for everyone who was waiting for 4 hours. And I,
Wow.
with families, with babies, with little kids in the car. It was stunning.
It's the odd, weird new normal that we all are getting used to, seeing everybody in face masks and stuff. But let's talk about Linda
Yeah.
Kash
Yeah.
and your wonderful growing up with this fabulous, talented family, Maureen Forrester, Eugene Clark. Maureen Forrester, the very famous opera singer, Eugene Clark,
Eugene
a renowned
Kash, not
Eugene
Clark.
Clark.
My other father.
Dave, this is Linda
That's
Kash,
right.
our guest, if you didn't know.
Eugene Clark. Many people don't know that. Eugene Cash. I don't say I don't say the word Eugene too much, so Clark comes right after. Sorry.
Yes.
And we got to use your dad's music. He was a renowned, wonderful violinist. When we did our play together, that
Becoming
Dr.
Dr.
Ruth,
Ruth.
yeah, Dr. Ruth, and you got to hear it during the play, which was so fabulous. And you have a talented brother, Daniel, and your sisters as well. What was it like growing up with such? And you have nothing to compare it to, but growing up with such a talented artistic family.
I think like most people, you don't really know what is different about your life until you grow up and you go to friends' houses and it's like, wow, their mom's home every day and she makes a snack for them and like, there's classical music in the background all the time. And my normal was full of music, full of fantastic, flamboyant, diverse, wonderful friends who came from all over. Like my mom had friends that used to base their vacations on where she was singing because so crazy about her. And they were just super eccentric and wonderful. And I grew up we moved around quite a bit because mom and dad moved as musicians. They moved around. So I lived in Connecticut. I lived in Philadelphia. I lived in almost every neighborhood in Toronto because my mom's secret desire, I think she was a closet Martha Stewart. So she would buy or rent a house and she would completely renovate it from head to toe. The landlord would bawl his eyes out when she was leaving and we would move because that was her joy. And I guess part of the reason it was her joy was because she was away like 80-90% of the year. So I had my dad who was sort of home because he was 42 when he married my mom. He was a counselor. And then apparently, legend has it, he was in the audience. My mother was singing. She looked out and she went, him.
Wow.
So she chased him for quite a few years and he finally relented and he loved her like he was a teenager. He adored her. And he was a house dad. So dad was home all the time. He saw all our concerts and everything. And mom was this brilliant, beautiful, funny, wonderful, full of life guest.
Yeah.
The sun literally would just shine when my mom came home. She was my dad was a wonderful guy, big ego, big temper. Mom was like the sun. She just would come home and broken toasters and bad homework and no tests that failed would leave. And she would just cook for us and just be a mom. And she was just fantastic.
It was extraordinary in those days to have like a Canadian diva. They really didn't exist to have a Canadian opera singer star. It was not of the norm. I mean, they all came from Europe or whatever. But your mom was really homegrown and a force to be reckoned with. I met her a couple times and she was unbelievable.
It was magnificent. I mean, she came from very humble beginnings in Montreal. So she never really left she was always very grounded. She was not elitist. I mean, we met Isaac Stern and we had dinner with Zubin Mehta and she also, made friends with the guy at the gas station. Like my mother she was just beautiful, friendly and respectful to everyone. And of course, I saw her at Carnegie Hall and gala. So as far as I was concerned, everybody gets a standing ovation. So I have a very false sense of what life would be like if
Right.
What does that do to you, though, growing up? You talk about moving constantly and your home life shifting and changing, even the makeup of it. Is there a resilience and a grit and that one has to acquire, making new friends all the time and finding yourself in new situations?
I that I mean, there are five of us, right? So, and I think one of the reasons why we had a fairly normal childhood was because there were so many siblings, right? So we kind of parented each other a little bit, and our nannies were fantastic as well as my dad. But I am a very friendly person, a little bit to a fault, because I'm very trusting and I love people, and I think I made friends very quickly. Now I have
Mhm.
siblings who are not like that. They are, I think moving was tough on my little sister. I think she, as soon as she could, she got a job and she stayed with that job forever. And she likes her 9 to 5 life. She's much more conservative than I am. I like to change it up, and I don't talk about the weather. I go right for your spleen when I talk to you. Like
Oh,
I and sometimes that gets me in a bit of trouble. But I think that's because I moved so much, and there were new schools and new neighborhoods, and I just enjoyed people.
nice. I'm sure of a lot of our audience, we have such a short time doing these conversations. I'm sure of a lot of our audience listening going, enough about our parents. Let's get to the Philly cream cheese. You know, I mean, is it extraordinary to be? I mean, how long did that ad last when you were the Philly cream cheese angel?
I did the Angel campaign from 1994 to 2011, if you
Wow.
believe it, and I had
Wow.
no idea it would, be so resilient. It was always a different group and a different cloud, and it was always super super fun. Sometimes I had wigs that made me look like I had a sheep on my head, and sometimes. Um, and then it stopped in 2011. And so I let it go. And of course, it gave me a false sense of financial security because it just was fantastic. I only worked a few days a year for that. And then everything else was, I could say yes to whatever I wanted. And then I was a real actor. It was 2011. It was like, oh my gosh, this is the way actors live. And I gotta really work very hard. So I became a bit of a lazy actor in the rest of my life because I had this sort of financial foundation. And then last year I was in Mexico. I was learning Spanish. I sort of made a promise to myself that I would go somewhere and stay. So I stayed put in Mexico for a month. And while I was there going to school, they said it's coming back. And I said, "You have got to be kidding me! I can't." And I thought, "Do you really want to put me in those curls? Like, long in the tooth." And they said, "We're going to give the campaign to another angel. We're going to do this very cool campaign, and we'd love you to be a part of it." And yeah, it's wild. It's wild.
Well, under likable in the dictionary is the picture of Linda Kash. Going back, you have such a great career in comedy. You've done so many wonderful jobs that people know you were on Seinfeld. What was that like, first of all?
Well, Seinfeld, being in LA was so interesting because when you did a show that was, going down the tubes, you really felt it on set. Writers
Right.
laugh way too loud at their own jokes. There's panic in the air, like it's not necessarily a fun place to be. You got on the set of Seinfeld. I was in season 4, so it was clearly a hit, and it was just light and fun and wonderful. Um, the Jason Alexander, who I worked with mostly, George Costanza, was a doll. He was just so sweet to me, and he just made me feel great. He made me feel really welcome. I didn't actually know about the show. I wasn't watching it at the time, so I wasn't overly starstruck. Jerry came on set on a skateboard with a baseball cap, like
Oh
he
my
was
God.
perpetually young. Michael Richards was constantly working. He was very serious, and he didn't really talk much to me because he's a great physical comedian, and he was working his bits over and over again by himself in the corner. And Elaine had a 2.5-year-old toddler, so she was running after this baby.
Wow.
But it was astonishing to be on a show like that. Now, the thing about the Seinfeld was they sweetened. So in post, they put the laugh track in.
Mhm.
While I was shooting it, I would say a line, and well, George would say a line and he'd get a huge laugh, and Jerry would say a line, he'd get a huge laugh, and then I'd get a line and it would be like,
They don't know you. Yeah, the audience doesn't know you. Yeah.
and during a break, I went, oh, and there are 400 people in the audience, so that's a lot of people not laughing. And I said to the guy that played, the guy that was the neighbor, what was his name?
Newman?
Yeah. So I said, I'm in the worst Seinfeld. Like, oh my gosh. He said, what are you talking about? You're in a classic. And I went, they hate me. Like, Larry David is looking at me like he's really upset. And I was like, no, it's all in post and they cut it really well. And it's a super funny episode. But at the time, I wasn't sure it was going to be a good one.
Wow. You also did Third Rock from the Sun with John Lithgow, right? Did you work with him? And
yes, I did. And John would have everyone in his dressing room together to do a reading just before it was taped. He had candles. It was like a very gentle introduction, and he was such a down-to-earth, nice guy. I worked on Ellen DeGeneres's show as well, and that was just before she did her talk show. She had a sitcom.
right.
That was an adventure as well. I worked with Sybil Shepherd. At the time, there was a sitcom called Sybil.
Her and Christine Baranski.
That's right. That's right.
Now that was apparently not a nice set.
That was not a fun set for the crew. And what I was told, I mean, she's a star. She's a total diva. She had a parasol when I met her, and Christine was so down to earth and wonderful. And apparently, the producers would fill her dressing room with flowers every day because they were so grateful that she was such a wonderful person to work with.
You know, it's funny when you mentioned Christine Baranski and John Lithgow and Jason Alexander, they all came from the theater.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So they're people.
Yes.
People, and know the craft and love actors and respect other actors. So yeah.
No, it's a different breed. And it's, you start from humble beginnings because it's two boards and a passion. You're not doing it for the money. You're doing it for the story and for the collaboration. It's like Ewan McGregor. I got to play his wife in Fargo, and it was the same. He comes from British theater, down to earth, fantastic guy.
Yeah. And then you
to get it right. You also come from Eugene Clark. You also have worked with some of the cream of the crop in comedy, apart from Seinfeld, in the film business, doing Waiting for Guffman, playing Eugene Levy's husband,
right.
or wife, and then as well as Best in Show.
Yeah.
What was that experience like? Because it's a bit about from your background too, because you have such a great improv background.
Well, I'm lucky enough to, my university, as far as I'm concerned, was Second City. So Second City, you learn, you present the show from improvisation. So basically, Waiting for Guffman, I got the job from a very uncomfortable interview that was slotted as an hour, and 7 minutes later, I left and went, well, I don't have that job, and I got it.
Wow.
I got to come up with everything. I knew that I was Eugene's wife. I knew he was a dentist. I knew we were Jewish, and I knew there weren't, any other Jewish people for 500 miles. And I knew that he was a performer. So rather than play a typical, a Jewish wife who's naggy or whatever, I wanted to flip it on its side, and I wanted to be absolutely supportive, and I wanted to be soft-spoken. And I got to bring that. And the cab driver that took me to the airport where we were going to shoot in Austin, Texas, had this like Midwest, real nice accent. And I went, oh my gosh, that's the voice. So I took my dictaphone, because in those days, that's what we recorded on. And I recorded his voice, and he just talked to me, and it was like, that's her. She's just real soft-spoken, and that's his wife. And then that was it. And then they just roll the camera. There were 55 hours of film.
Oh my God.
So it's an editing feat of genius more than anything.
Did they ever have an release of outtakes, or did they ever do anything with those?
I think you can see some outtakes. I think there's an interview or two that I did with Eugene that make the film. Yeah, it was a total adventure, and it was so freeing, and it's all driven. So
Well,
it
that Chinese food scene, when you guys, the four of you, and Catherine O'Hara and Drunk, I mean, and you and
so fun, so fun, and real time. So there were two cameras going. We're eating. I had no idea what was going to happen. Fred Willard,
Fred Willard.
Fred Willard,
about
rest his soul. Yeah.
rest his soul. Oh my, he was so funny, but so unpredictable. And I used to go to Santa Monica to watch him with a troupe that he worked with like 25 years before, and he kept his craft. He kept improvising, because improv
Wow.
gets a bit scary if you stop. It's like a muscle. You just have to keep exercising it. Otherwise you get in your own way. And I teach as well. So, I'm a real, I don't know. I want everybody to try improv. I think everyone could do it.
So say, listen, maybe people with Greenwin can sign up.
You can
And
do a class with me. I started a company called Cluster Fork with a K, with two other wonderful friends. And we just wanted to create a platform where we, during this time, particularly when people are kind of stuck at home, and also wonderful actors who are also teachers are stuck at home. So we're teaching musical theater, we're teaching stand-up, we're teaching
wow.
improv. We're going to do a little bit of one-person shows, but I have access to these. I'm calling you guys. It's an hour and a half. It's a great platform.
Love it.
Do you have to be professional, or can you just be interested in finding out about it and beginner?
Yes, yeah. I mean, there are different levels, skill
Right.
level. The stand-up class is basically facing a fear. And Dawn Whitwell, who's a wonderful stand-up, I took a course with her a few years ago, and I've always wanted to use her again because it was so frightening, the idea of me doing stand-up. Improv is like nothing compared to just standing and talking about my life. She talks about the structure of a joke, and you leave with 5 minutes of material. It's really cool. It's hard.
How do people get in touch with you if they want to take a class?
Go to, if you look up Cluster Fork, that's fork, clusterfork with a K.com. And you can, I think it's clusterfork at Gmail is the email.
Yeah.
And it's all done virtually. It's all virtual.
It's all virtual at the moment. It's all virtual, but we're working it out. Like this, you work out the bugs and
right.
figure it out.
It's got to be so freeing, improv, I guess, for people who are beginning. What will they get out of it if they're just beginnings? I mean, they should face their fears and do it, first of all. There we go, Cluster Fork.
Yep, Cluster Fork. Yes.
So what will they, if they're non-professionals and they just want to come into a class, what will they gain from it? Or,
well,
I'm sure there's fun, lots of fun.
Non-actors more than anything, because I mean, we all have a funny bone, but many of us don't know where it is. And I think the thing about teaching improv is it's all through games. So I'm basically showing you how you can be funny by following the rules to the game, and invariably you're gonna find your place in the game, because it isn't just me and it isn't just you. It's you and I working together. The comedy part of it is not required. Invariably you're gonna get a laugh, but it's not a comedy class, it's an improv class. So what it teaches you is you stay in the moment, try to keep that self-critic who loves to sit on your shoulder and tell you what you just said was lame. That part of you goes away, so you get out of your own way. And the application for that is, I don't care if you're a real estate agent, if you're a teacher, it doesn't matter, your age, and it really doesn't matter what your background is. It's a discipline to stay in the moment. And at the time, it's like, it's important. It's really important.
I was always so afraid of it because I always was so result orientated. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, let's get through this game so I can get to the punchline and be funny. But then I never looked at anybody. I kept looking up at the forehead, not listening to anybody, because you want that payoff. So I should take a class with you.
You should take the class.
Anyways. It's a kick. And the other thing is the games last like 3 minutes, and then we move on to the next game. We do not belabor any moment.
And there's no judging. It's just
no judging. It's very important not to judge.
Well,
you're promoting Cluster Fork, and at the same time, we're also doing different programming. This is great for, I think, the Greenwin residents because they could take advantage of that, and hopefully they'll take advantage of this opportunity. Avery Saltzman, my brother from another mother, co-artistic director, is doing a live cabaret this Sunday. And speaking of a little improv, but great music. I'm always astounded when I hear him sing. And we have a little commercial for that live cabaret. If Samantha, if you can play that for us now, I'm giving you a little heads up.
Don't worry that it's not good enough for anyone else to hear. Just sing a song. Hey, how is everybody? Oh, thank you so much for joining me for a couple of minutes.
Keep this short and sweet, Saltzman.
My name is Avery Saltzman.
Who else would you be?
And I'm going to be coming to your living room in a cabaret that's full of songs and stories just for you.
I hope I remember my lyrics.
An Avery Saltzman Cabaret.
Oh, that's clever.
Sunday, October 25th, 7:30 p.m. And it's going to be live.
Live? Am I crazy? What is that?
My musical director is none other than Mark Camilleri. He's fabulous, fantastic, and really good looking.
You better cough up the $20 he owes me.
And my special guest is Louise Camilleri.
She's so much prettier than I am.
All for $36.
$36? I think I'm worth more than 36.
So, how to buy tickets? Go onto our website, www.hgjewishtheater.com, and you'll be directed on how to buy tickets.
Do it now. Look into my eyes. Do it now.
Geez, enough already. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye. So sing a song.
That was really good.
What's that? I didn't hear.
I think I look like a stand of honeydew melons.
It's a lot of Saltzman.
You do not need any improv. You're just fine. I can't wait to see it.
It's fun.
Great.
It's a lot of songs. It's a lot of old stories. A little bit about my life and my adventures, and so it's liberating. It's kind of fun, but it's so it'll be a cool evening, I think.
Developed over COVID, or have you done it before?
I did it before the Harold Green about 4 years ago, but this is all new music, and it's all new patter, and I have a bunch of pictures of old family and friends, and I tell some great David Eisner stories and about life growing up in the suburbs and being an actor and such, and
Oh, that's awesome.
and not getting most of my auditions. So
There you go.
there we go.
That's an actor's life. Well, what a great opportunity for the Greenwin residents.
Yeah.
They can join and learn some great improv.
Yeah.
Do something different. Get out of your comfort zone because there is no judging. And I know what a great teacher you are and that you have. So if you go onto Cluster Fork and sign up for that this Sunday, if you want to buy for $36, there's the Cluster Fork. Clusterfork.com.
Clusterfork.com. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a great activity. And then if you want to watch a fabulous performer, it's $36 per household. But I know someone once said science will get us over COVID, but the arts will get us through it.
Nice.
So if you take advantage of participating, engaging, or watching, I think it'll really help everybody's soul.
And before we say goodbye, I want to say thank you to Samantha Jones and behind the scenes. Samantha, want to show your face and say hi? Don't be shy.
There she is.
There she is.
Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha.
Oh, like David.
That was a great first show. Linda, you were our first guest, so thank you so much.
I'm honored.
And before we go, we have
Yes.
the Greenwin lightning round.
Uh-oh.
Okay? First question. Do you have a middle name and what is it?
My middle name is Valerie.
Lovely.
Lovely. Dark or milk chocolate?
Dark chocolate.
Fox or CNN?
Oh, please. CNN.
This is a tough one. Your favorite TV series of all time?
Oh,
to.
no.
That's hard. One of your favorite.
One of my favorites? Oh my gosh. Oh, just binging so many. I don't know. I can't tell you. I love
That's a
any
tough.
stuff. I love the sort of edgier stuff. I
What
like.
can you recommend people?
It sort of depends on your taste. Like, Family Guy is the dumbest thing you ever want to see, but it's a great distraction. And I love South Park, but it offends the heck out of a lot of people. It just does not. I love animation. I love period stuff. I loved The Crown. Okay, I'm going to say The Crown.
Okay,
The
cool.
Crown. You love animation because you do a lot of animation. People
Do a
don't
lot
know.
of.
Who was your teen idol crush?
I loved Bobby Sherman, but I didn't tell anyone. Loved Lincoln Hayes from the Mod Squad.
Oh, sure.
Mm.
Yes, he
Who
was
is your
cool.
2020 crush?
You guys.
Oh, stop it.
See? I get in trouble.
I love you. And if you have one word for humanity, what would that be?
Grace.
Lovely.
Had dementia, and one of the last conversations I had with her, I asked her if she could sum up her life in a word, and she said grace. And I think it's a great word, to be gracious and just be kind to each other. Don't worry, and you're good enough.
You are her mother's daughter. That's for sure. You're blessed, and we're blessed to have you as a friend. And thank you for doing this initial show for us. Your doll, having flown back from Vancouver today, and slapped on some makeup, and here you are. And so thank you again.
Incredible.
We thank our audience. And next week, our guest is
Eugene Clark.
I think. Who is our guest next week?
I don't know, but we got a great lineup. So Avery's going to find out. Oh my God,
Patrick McKenna. That's right.
Patrick McKenna.
From the
great duo.
Green Show, and brilliant from Traders, brilliant actor.
Fantastic.
Also a brilliant improv artist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for getting us started, Linda. Always great to see you.
Yeah. Love you. Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us.
Stay well, guys.
Two.